Hey there, plant lovers. Welcome back to the Black Plant Chick podcast with your host, Jade. If you're new here, she's an author, content curator, podcaster, of course, but more importantly, a black woman who loves plants, sex, and success. Buckle up for a new episode from the only podcast where they tell the truth about their unhealthy obsession with plants, their needy desire for good sex, and their never-ending climb up the mountain of success. Whether you're a novice plant parent or a more experienced grower, this show is for you. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome your host, Jade.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Black Plant Chick podcast. I am your Black Plant Mama, Jade, and this is Season 3, Episode 2. So, I hope that you all are doing well out there, staying warm. I am in Atlanta, Georgia, and we are expected to get snow today. The flurries came down a bit, but it's not sticking, which my son is really disappointed about. Hold on, let me double check some of this audio. Make sure that we are testing. I don't like that one. Testing. Nope, I don't like that one either. Hold on, y'all. I'm sorry. All right. I just can hear myself very well. Okay. Anyway, so we're expected to get snow today. My son is hoping that the snow sticks. I am too, in a way. I guess if it sticks, I would prefer it stick for a few days. You know, I don't want it to come and then by the time we wake up tomorrow morning, it's over. Anywho, so welcome back to the podcast. Today is all about plants and my sort of experience in 2021 and what I'm looking forward to in 2022 this year. Before I get there, I would like to shout out James of Men to Heal. That is where this shirt is from, if you can see it. And it's a super powerful movement that he has over there. Follow him on Instagram at men. Hold on, let me make sure I give you guys the exact handle. Men_2_heal. James is super dope, but he is a Black therapist. His mission is to help Black men understand the importance of mental health and healthy mental health and going to see therapists, getting the help that they need. And so I truly support and back this movement because I am a mother of a Black boy and I also love Black men. And I've dealt with some Black men who could have benefited from therapy. Another story. But anyways, a few church announcements now. Okay. So with the way the world is going right now, the pandemic, because we're still in one, it really has an effect on supply chain, right? So a lot of us entrepreneurs who do not make handcrafted items that we can get material from our local store, but we actually create items that have to be printed and are printed in other locations, i.e. like my book, the plant deck, things like that, my merch, all of those different things where I create the design, but I have to get it printed somewhere else. What I am facing right now is a huge delay in printing because a lot of these warehouses are short-staffed. So although you can still order all of the items that I have to offer, shipping takes a lot longer. And I hate to make people wait, but it's sort of out of my control. So those of you who are listening and who have ordered affirmation books, the plant deck, trust me, those items are in printing and they are coming, I promise you. What else? Make sure you're listening to the Plant Wind Down. That's my other plan. That is my other podcast with my favorite brown skin plant mama. Be sure to listen to that podcast as well. Congratulations, Veronica, on a healthy baby boy. What else? So, I think that's all I got. I was trying to figure out what else I had going on. So I want to vent for a second before I get into this show topic, right? Hosting a solo podcast is hard, right? And as much as I want to bring to you all long episodes with just me, it's really difficult to only talk to myself and to keep the show going for over an hour or 45 minutes to an hour. So I just wanted to let y'all know that I am filming this the day before it's supposed to be released. My intention was to do it in advance, but sometimes it's difficult to prepare when it's just going to be me. So I cannot wait until I start having guests on the show. I think that what I'm going to do come season 4 is really rely on having a lot of guests. I think I might have some guest hosts who will come onto the podcast and sit with me for several episodes at a time. So this episode and the next 2 episodes, it will be just me, but I cannot wait until I have a guest on the show because you guys, this is a lot of work. I'm very organized when it comes to my podcast, so it's not really about organization or anything like that. It's just knowing that I'm about to sit here and be talking to a camera that no one is on the other side of. That's kind of like nerve-wracking. But I'm here because you guys come back last season, every other week, but now every week to listen. Make sure you're also going to view this podcast on YouTube because that is a new space for me. And I understand how difficult it can be to build your brand on YouTube. So I hope that I don't give up in that area because it's a lot. I am a little nervous about being on YouTube because you're open to everyone's interpretation of your work, right? And people leave comments that are wild. Let me tell you guys, I had a YouTube channel for the erotic Jade, and I did a review on a sex toy. And someone put in the comments, I couldn't really hear you that well, so I went to another video. Oh, okay. So why did you have to leave that? Like, you could have just been like, oh, yo, sis, like, the audio was a little low, but dope video, or I'm going to still give you a thumbs up. Anyway, so I am kind of nervous about just what I'm opening up myself to. I feel a little bit more safe when I'm just behind the mic and not a camera. But I want to expand with this brand. I want to take it in different places. And I know that requires me to branch out on different platforms. So please tell a friend about my YouTube channel. You'll be able to catch my videos here and video footage of the plant wind down as well. Anywho, okay, so today we're talking about plants. And I was trying to figure out, and you see me looking this way, that's because I can see myself right here. The camera is here and I can see myself right there. So if you see me looking over there, just know because I'm glancing at myself. Can't help it. But I was trying to figure out exactly how to start this episode, right? Or in what area I wanted to begin when it came to plants, because my plant journey in 2021 was a roller coaster ride. I feel like the ride that I was on when it came to my mental health also affected my journey with plants. So when things were up, then I felt good about the space I was in with my plants. When things were down, then I didn't feel so good. So last year, I want to say between the first quarter and half of the second quarter of 2021, I was in a great place with my plant journey. I was out doing a lot of plant shopping. I enjoyed going to the plant shops. I was bringing home more and more plants. And then around the second half of quarter 2 and into the third quarter of the year, everything failed. Everything dropped. My desire to care for the plants in my home shifted a bit. And some of you might be able to relate to this. So plants like the fiddle leaf fig or the monstera or the peace lily these are my favorites, right? So I tend to really throw myself into their care. But other plants that I may not, I don't want to say I don't love because I love all my plants, but I might not really be like, whatever, it's just like, um, I noticed that I was slacking in caring for those plants. I was just mentally in a weird space because I was going through a lot of things. And so those plants took the back seat to my priorities, whereas other plants didn't. But part of last year, I remember, and I won't even really go into detail about what I was experiencing, but let's just say it's over. Anywho, I was experiencing some uncomfortable shit, right? And so my bathroom, if you follow me on Instagram, I've posted pictures and did videos of all the plants that I had in my bathroom last year. And it was a lot of smaller plants. And if you know me, you know that I'm not a huge fan of smaller plants. I love big plants. That's just who I am. But all of the plants that I had in my bathroom, although I spent a lot of time there because I love my bathroom. So I'm always in the mirror, I'm always in the shower, I'm sitting on the toilet, like I'm always in that space. But I never really wanted to do anything with them. Like I would see yellowing leaves, I would notice dry soil, but I wasn't just in the mood to even care for them, even though I was looking right at them. But that was because I was also dealing with a lot internally. And so I didn't know how to love on something in that moment. So one day, and I don't want any judgment when you guys hear this, but sorry. So I gotta get I gotta get comfortable. So one day I was ready to clean house with my personal life and within my home, literally, right? Clean house. And I started in my bathroom and I got rid of all those plants in my bathroom, y'all. I needed to do it. No matter what state they were in as far as health goes, because a lot of them were, although they were neglected, they were still pretty healthy. Now I know what you're thinking. Why didn't you just give them away? Well, I truly believe in the transfer of energy. And I transferred a lot of pain into those plants because I would go into my bathroom and cry. I would go into my bathroom and make up like arguments that I was having with myself and another person, and I would work them out in my head in my bathroom. So I was experiencing a lot in that place. And so I was transferring a lot of energy from myself to those plants. And so I don't believe in giving someone a plant that you truly neglected and you're possibly giving them that bad energy and now they're bringing it into their home. I'm huge on that. So I was not going to give those plants away. And honestly, it felt very healing for me to toss them. And that's what I did. I tossed all of maybe all but 3 plants that I had in that bathroom. Now, I had over 20. Don't judge me. Don't come in my inbox. Don't comment on this post. Listen, I had about 20 plants in the bathroom and I got rid of all but 3. And the last 3, 2 of them are about to be gone. Um, but I had to do it and it felt so good. And I started over. I have plants in there now, the plants that I want. Um, and so, gosh, I kind of I'm thinking back to that experience that I have, and I just want to share with you all what I was experiencing, and if you're going through something like that, it ain't nobody's business what you're going through in your home. If you feel like you need to clean house and a plant has to go, so be it. I know they have those plant rights activists out there, but those are your plants. You spent your money on them. And if they're no longer serving you, do as you please with those plants, right? If you are still pushing love into them, then sure, give them away. But if you're sending negative vibes into those plants, I'm sorry, don't give that plant to nobody. Don't nobody want that energy in their home. Like that's just, and this is my personal opinion, and I just say do not pass that on to someone else. Sure, you may not believe in that transfer of energy, and if you don't, so be it. But you ain't my friend if you don't believe like that. But anywho, I'm just playing, y'all. But yeah, so I got rid of all of those and I started over and it felt good. I allowed my bathroom to clean its energy by saging it, all of those things. I didn't have any plants in there for a minute until I got more. And it felt good because looking at those plants reminded me of different things. Not that they came, anyways, no, because I don't want to go there. So that was sort of what I experienced going into the end of 2021. Another thing that I was going through last year was lacking the desire to bring home new plants. Um, I remember the first time that I noticed that this was happening is I went to a plant shop and I left with nothing. Right. And I know that a lot of times we talk about going to plant shops and just looking around and leaving with nothing. But my intention was to go and buy. And this plant shop had beautiful plants. They had everything that I wanted, and I just didn't feel it. Nothing moved me and nothing like said, "Hey, Jade, come and buy me." And I left with nothing. And I remember going back home and sitting there and thinking, hmm, it's okay to be feeling like this. It's okay to not buy a plant every weekend. It's okay to not buy a plant every month. Kind of figure out what it is that you might be going through, sit in that, and then move on. And so instead of beating myself up because I wasn't putting a plant in this empty space or that empty space, I wasn't bringing home my favorite plant again, I just accepted what I was going through and kept it moving. And then one day it hit me and it was like, the reason why you are not moved to buy a new plant every time you go to a plant shop is because what you want may not be there. What you want has changed. I remember when the pandemic hit, and a lot of you might be able to relate to this, but we were just out buying plants, right? Because it felt good, because we were experiencing a lot of us loneliness. Our homes were empty. We couldn't have family or friends over. And so plants became that companion for us. And so every chance that we got, we went and bought and bought and bought and bought. And that's why a lot of us ended up with so many plants in our space. Um, but and so I experienced the same thing. And I think what I noticed is that now I only want certain kinds of plants. And that's three types of plants. That's the fiddle leaf, the peace lily, and the monstera. Swiss cheese plant. That's all I want. And because I am a big plant lover, um, if I don't see that big plant, then I'm leaving. Like, I don't really care for little plants. They're cute, but I don't really care for them. I love big plants. I love bold plants that when you walk into a room, you see them. You are immediately embraced by their energy, right? I love that. Okay. Um, and so I realized that why I didn't want to buy a plant every time that I walked into a store is because I wasn't seeing the ones that I wanted and I wasn't moved by the plants that I saw. And so once I figured that out and I sat in that space, I was okay with it. Like so last year, I don't think I bought a, I might, between October and December, I only bought, I want to say, two plants. And that was a large peace lily and actually that might be it. Oh, no. And another monstera, a big monstera. And I bought this one in the very beginning of January this month. And so, listen, if you don't feel it, if it's not moving you, if when you see that plant or going to that plant shop, if you are not instantly moved to buy something, don't beat yourself up. Don't leave that plant shop with a plant that you have no desire to care for. Because all that's going to happen is that plant is going to end up having pests, end up dying, something crazy, or you're going to end up giving it away. So that was what I am, and I'm still kind of going through that. Like yesterday, I went to Kroger, and this Kroger had tons of plants. And there was this huge calathea. Which one was it? Don't get me to lying. I don't want to lie about that, but it was big, and it was only $14.99. And I put it in my basket, and I walked around the store doing my regular shopping, and I'm just staring at this plant. And when I got this one from Kroger as well, and it was in my basket, I was staring at it and I was happy. I was like, yo, this big old plant right here was $14.99, and I was so happy to have it. But when I was looking at this other plant, this calathea, and it wasn't because it was a calathea, because I know some of you would think like that's because it was a plant that don't nobody like. That wasn't it. Um, I just wasn't moved, and I set that plant right back down, and I was like, I'm not about to spend my money, even if it's $14, on a plant that is not doing anything for me. Like that's selfish to the plant when that plant can go with someone who wants it. So I say all of that to say, and don't beat yourself up over lack of wanting to bring home a new plant. Don't feel like you got to keep up with social media when it comes to the number of plants that you have in your house. I know we all love posting pictures of a beautiful background with tons of plants, and oh, every week I'm posting a new picture of a plant. And no shade to those who are in that space and love bringing home a new plant every week. Do you, boom? But to those who feel like in order for my brand to grow or my page to grow, I have to have all of these plants. You don't. You can have 5 plants and still be a boss in your space. So, all right, that's the plant space that I'm in right now. Um, I am excited about this year, and not necessarily about what new plants I'm going to bring home, although I'm going to bring home a few more fiddle leaf figs and peace lilies. But I'm excited about trying again with growing food outside. So I started last year, and I had a small raised bed garden that did really well. I grew purple lettuce, basil, rosemary. I grew my first cantaloupe. I had tomatoes. Um, but this time around, I'm aware of the mistakes that I made last year. I'm really excited to try again and do better this year. And I'm excited to grow more cantaloupe and more tomatoes. I do want to give it another try at potatoes because I didn't do too well with growing them last year. I needed to give them more space so that they can be bigger. So I'm really excited about that journey. I'm also excited about teaching more. I was hoping to get into the Master Gardener program, but they canceled it this year because of the damn pandemic. So I'm a little sad about that. Hopefully, I can get into it next year and it's not canceled. But instead, I am going to just spend some time studying, studying, studying. That way, I can bring more content for you all when it comes to educating you guys on how to care for the plants that you have in your home. Anywho, okay, so now I'm going to give you guys some tips on growing healthy fiddle leaf fig trees in 2022. I still get asked this question. People still want to know what it is that they need to do to care for a fiddle leaf fig. First, I want to say stop overthinking the process, right? Stop listening to what social media says because unfortunately, social media people are still talking about how difficult fiddle leaf fig trees are. And I have to be honest with you, they're not. I think that you guys are overthinking it. And I've said this many of times right here on this podcast, but I think that we are overthinking the process. Just like with any plant that you bring home, know what you have to offer that plant first. What do I mean by that? Light, time, space, the temperature in your home. Are you willing to give that plant the nutrients that it needs to thrive? Are you willing to clean that plant? Are you willing to change the soil? All of these different things. Are you willing to provide it with healthy soil? Which, if you are, hit up my girl Carla, Creative Plant Mama. She has a dope Etsy shop, and hit her up. So know what you have, and this can apply to any plant that you bring home, but know what you have to offer that plant first, right? Okay, so number one, they are only hard to care for because you don't know your space well enough. Like I just said, know your space. If you know that you don't get a lot of light, figure out a way to substitute the light that you don't have with the light that this plant needs, meaning get a grow light, right? You can get a grow light, put it in your space, and that plant will still flourish. Okay. Number two, when you are out shopping for a fiddle leaf fig or any plant for that matter, inspect that plant. Okay. Inspect it. What does that mean? That means stick your hand into that soil, pull that plant from up out of that planter pot and raise it up. See what it looks like at the bottom. Check the leaves, check for webbing, check everything. Because what you don't want to do is bring a plant home that already has had problems and the problems have just been sitting there. If you do, then make sure you isolate that plant, clean it, change the soil, do all of those things before you welcome it into your home with your other plants. But yes, do not be afraid, no matter where you are, where you're shopping for plants at, a big box store or a small plant shop in your neighborhood, inspect that plant. No one will tell you, don't touch that soil. If they do, I would walk out. But you want to disrupt the soil because a lot of times what might be going on in there, you won't notice until you get home. So, like, if that soil already has gnats and you don't move it around, you'll never know that those gnats are in there because you didn't move the soil. So disrupt it a little bit. Stick your finger in there, move it around, and see if something starts to come up, right? That's number one. Number three, stop thinking that, what did I say? Oh, sorry, y'all. Stop thinking that water and a good wipe down is all you need for the fiddle leaf fig. So, a fiddle leaf fig, yes, needs water. Yes, it needs to be wiped down, but it also needs nutrients, right? So, it needs the fertilizer, it needs good soil, it needs humidity. So, give it more than just water and a wipe down. Spend time with that plant, cleaning it, making sure that the soil is a well draining soil so that it can get air in through those roots and so that it can breathe. So, while you're wiping it down, while you are watering your plant, check for some other things, right? And on the lines of watering, figure out, okay, so based on the size of your plant, right? So if the plant is a lot smaller, you might be watering it a bit more, right? Because it's a smaller plant, there's not a lot of soil. It might dry out a lot quicker. Also, depending on the temperature that your house is in, where that plant is located in your home could determine how quickly the soil dries out. A much bigger plant might be a little bit moist longer than a smaller plant. So first figure out what size your plant is, and then that will help you determine how often you need to water it. This plant is in a 10-inch pot, but it's pretty big in height. And so for this one, I water about every 14 days because two reasons, right? It's winter, and in my home, the temperature is very different, but it's also in a planter pot as well as another pot, a decorative pot, which is keeping the soil moist a little bit longer. If it was more exposed, then the soil might dry out a lot faster. But I decided that every 14 days is good, right? When you start watering it too frequently, you're not giving it time to dry out. Now, when they say allow your plants to dry out, the soil to dry out, that doesn't mean wait until it's a desert in there. Because what can happen then is that the soil will begin to pull away from the pot because your watering isn't consistent. And you don't want that to happen. Fertilizer. Fertilizer is very important for all plants, but when it comes to the fiddle leaf fig, because these are ornamental plants, which means that they're really grown for their beautiful leaves, right? These big leaves. And so you want to make sure that you are providing it with the right amount of nutrients so that these leaves can remain beautiful. And in a later episode, when I bring on some more plant professionals, we will dig into fertilizer and the NPK and all of that stuff and what that means, and you know, um, how you can make sure that you're providing your plant with the right nutrients, right? But you want to make sure that you're doing that. It's unfair of you to only water your plant and not give it food, because you wouldn't survive off of just water, but whatever. Okay, soil. Soil is very important with every plant that you have. So not all soil is created equal. I had an episode titled Not All Soil is Created Equal last year with Carla, the creative plant mama, my friend, and the person who makes some dope soil. There are a lot of other people who make great soil, but I stand behind her soil brand. Um, but make sure that you are purchasing or hand making your own quality soil. So good soil has several different soil amendments in there. What is that? That's perlite, could be sand, it could be horticultural charcoal, it could be pine bark or orchid barks. It could be a lot of different things that help to make that soil healthy, to help make it suitable for whatever type of plant you have. That's just like cactus. A cactus requires a certain type of soil. Plants and Stone, Zimbalist, he is the one to go to for cactus soil. But yeah, make sure you have great soil, because everything happens in the roots. That's the life of your plant, right? And so you want to make sure that you are nurturing that part of your plant, not just above the soil, but down below as well. I know that it can be a lot of work to repot a plant or to go out and source these soil amendments. But your plants will thank you. So those are just a few of my tips when it comes to caring for fiddle leaf figs. If you would like more information or some one-on-one care, go to my website, because I still do offer consultations, although I'm not pushing them as hard anymore because my schedule is extremely busy. I do still offer consultations. I actually did one at the very end of 2021, and it really pushed me forward, right? It made me remember why I started doing consultations in the beginning, and it was a great way to start this new year. Sort of ending the last year with why I love helping people, and that's being able to see people drop their shoulders and breathe and realize that they too are human, and the mistakes that they're making are very natural, but they can be corrected. So, if you would like a consultation, if you would like guidance on how to not only shop for a fiddle leaf fig, but how to also care for one, go to blackplantchick.com, hit me up, and let's get it. So that is all that I have for the plant episode. And if you remember, this season is all about the PSS, that is plant, sex, and success. So you will get 2 planty episodes from me, whereas right now you're going to get just one from me directly, but the next one will be with someone on the podcast. But you will get your plenty episodes, your sex episodes, and your success episodes every single month. You'll get those things. But I hope that you guys enjoyed this solo episode. I hope that I didn't lose anyone. I hope that you were not bored. And if you were, I'm so sorry. Um, there's nothing I can do about that. I mean, I'm doing my best here, damn it. No, but anywho, you guys, gosh, that's it. I hope to see you back here next week. And like I always say, love, peace, and propagate. Bye, y'all.